Infrastructure Investing. Part 2. Investing into the assets that form the backbone of every economy. Investing in infrastructure projects presents long-term investors, such as retirement funds, with the opportunity to achieve both long-term suitable returns for members, while at the same time contributing towards much-needed economic and socio-economic outcomes. Revised Regulation 28 now allows retirement funds to invest up to a maximum exposure of 45% for infrastructure assets. This video, which is the second in a two-part series in infrastructure investing, will focus on how investors can invest in infrastructure as an asset class and the importance of why investors should consider infrastructure assets as part of their portfolio. Approaches to investing in infrastructure. While infrastructure investments are generally classified as unlisted investments, investors that are seeking exposure to infrastructure assets have a number of asset categories and principal instruments available to them for investing in infrastructure. This allows investors to gain exposure to infrastructure using various approaches. Investors can invest directly in infrastructure by investing in public infrastructure companies such as utility, transport, or energy companies. This can be done through purchasing the shares, debt, or other instruments used by these companies. Investors can purchase infrastructure bonds. These are bonds or debt issued by governments or municipalities that are earmarked for specific infrastructure projects, such as building a road. More recently, investments can be made through public-private partnership (PPP) projects entered into by public sector institutions and private companies. This would typically entail the government allowing a private company to contribute capital towards a project, such as building solar energy projects, for example. In the unlisted space, private equity-type infrastructure funds can also be set up. These funds are set up with the limited partners, LPs, providing the capital to the fund, and general partners, GPs, managing the funds and allocating capital to various infrastructure projects. Investors can also allocate capital to infrastructure through infrastructure funds, exchange-traded funds, ETFs, or even through derivatives built around various listed infrastructure indices. Reasons for investing into infrastructure. There are many reasons investors would consider including infrastructure assets in their investment portfolios. A store of value throughout the economic cycle. Returns for infrastructure assets. Inflation protection characteristics. Social, environmental, and economic benefits. We explore the following. Infrastructure acts as a store of value throughout the economic cycle. Because they provide essential services to society, infrastructure assets are not affected by upswings and downswings in the economy. Additionally, the returns on infrastructure investments are not determined by the market's behavior. Instead, they are determined by the asset's performance. They are normally not affected by volatility in the capital market. The returns for infrastructure assets, like those of other alternative assets, tend to have a low correlation to those of more traditional asset classes, such as shares and bonds, listed on stock exchanges, making them a great choice for diversification purposes. Infrastructure assets are also well known for their inflation protection characteristics, allowing them to provide real returns to investors. Many infrastructure assets have a form of built-in inflation linkage. Lastly, and importantly, the right infrastructure investments provide social, environmental, and economic benefits. Retirement funds, for instance, could invest in infrastructure assets such as roads, hospitals, and schools that benefit their members, who would likely be among the users or beneficiaries of this infrastructure. We would like to thank 91 and the CISA Foundation for funding this educational video. Atleha-edu, helping ordinary South Africans save and invest for a better tomorrow. Please visit our Atleha-edu website to access Atleha-edu educational publications and videos.